Hey, how's it going? Wanted to make a video that I normally don't make in regards to this whole thing. Normally, what I do is I just play games, try to be entertaining, just get through it, and at the end sometimes I'll give a small snippet of my opinion of the game, whether how good I thought it was or how bad I thought it was. Usually it's pretty minor stuff. I try not to get into the reviewing thing because I don't see myself as a good reviewer. Oftentimes I'm too, I don't pay enough attention to things to remember stuff that I would want to talk about at the end if I were to do a review video. So it would pretty much just be like a minute-long video of me going, I really like that game, think you should buy it. Alright, until the next review, which isn't really going to work too well. So I try to leave that to people who actually know what they're doing, have some sort of rhythm and pattern, or trying to think of the right word, but something to follow that they are actually good at. And I don't do that for games. I usually just play them. People can either watch to be entertained or get mad or see what the gameplay is like, stuff like that. But in regards to Resident Evil 6, I figured it'd be a little bit different, and I want to talk about it a little bit. Because right before the game had come out, usually I don't look up a lot of trailers of stuff. I might see the first trailer that's released, look up a little bit of information on the game and see if I want to play it or buy it or whatnot, which usually I will for most major releases. But some of them I pass up. Like I didn't play XCOM because it didn't look interesting to me per se. Not that I think it would be a bad game, but to me it just didn't look like I would enjoy it. And there you go. I always try to say like there's a difference between me not liking a game because it's bad and me not liking a game because I'm bad at it. I wouldn't do it justice, like stuff like that. Like Legend of Zelda. I don't play that game because I suck at it, and I don't enjoy most games that I suck at. Now, there are a couple games that I suck at that I enjoy, but The Legend of Zelda I don't enjoy. But I can see why a lot of people think it's a good game. So there you go, there's a little example. But when Resident Evil 6 came out, people were telling me, oh, the reviews are pretty crappy, because people pretty much figured I'd be playing the game. I'm a pretty big fan of Resident Evil. Probably since I was about 10, I've been playing the game, started off with Resident Evil 1. If you don't know how old I am now, it may be deceiving, but I'm 24, so I've been with the series for a little bit. I like the older games, I like the newer games with Resident Evil 4 and 5, and I figured that I would like Resident Evil 6, but I'll get into that. So, when 6 came out, people were tweeting at me like, oh man, look at the reviews this game is getting. It's not getting very good reviews. And I'm like, don't tell me, like, what the hell happened now? Like, what did they do to screw up the game? So, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to play the game myself, see what it's like. Operation Raccoon City came out earlier, and before I get into that, I should let you know that this video is probably going to contain a lot of opinions that you may or may not agree with, so try not to get mad. I don't mean to offend you with any opinions of anything, but that's just the way this video is going to go. But Operation Raccoon City came out, and if you had seen us play that earlier this year, we had a lot of problems with that game. Not that it was hard, that we had a lot of like glitches, bugs, stuff like that. We got to the point where we really didn't want to play it anymore, but we wanted to finish it, that whatever character James was using, he was just using the stealth feature and just booking it past everyone, because we started getting sick of the bugs we were running into, the giant crowds and whatnot that would pop up and just beat our ass. So there is that. But I played about 4.5 hours of Resident Evil 6 so far, which my opinion of the game may change. I haven't beaten it, so that may dismiss a lot of claims that I will say about it. But I've only played about 4.5 hours. I've only played the first 2 chapters and the prelude of Leon. So there is that. I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more of it done, but unfortunately I went to Chicago for a little bit to surprise visit family and friends, and I wasn't able to play much more than that. But I started playing it, and I'm like, this game doesn't feel as bad as people said it was. And I went and looked up some reviews of Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, which is probably my least favorite game that I've played this year, and compared it to Resident Evil 6. Now, I know some people are probably going to get upset, like, you can't compare those games. They're 2 different games, 2 different companies, and blah, blah. Like, I don't know, I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I kind of wanted to compare that, because I was like, I like Resident Evil 6 way better than Operation Raccoon City. Like, Operation Raccoon City, to me, was going to be potentially a great game. It takes place in the time period of my favorite Resident Evil game, which is 2 and 3. 2 would be my favorite game. They both took place at roughly the same time. You go back It's like a what-if scenario to try and stop Leon and cover up the outbreak, and I thought it was a pretty cool concept, but I did not like it. But I went and looked up and compared some reviews, and I will go ahead and list those off now. IGN gave Operation Raccoon City a 4, and Resident Evil 6 a 7.9. Destructoid gave Operation Raccoon City a 7.5, and Resident Evil 6 a 3. Hopefully these scores are correct that I found and wrote down, otherwise I'm going to look like an idiot. That one I don't agree with the most. GameSpot gave Orc a 4 and Resident Evil 6 a 4.5. OXM gave Orc a 7 and Resident Evil 6 an 8. And Machinima gave Orc a 6.5 and Resident Evil 6 a 7.5, I believe. I don't know what the hell was going on with Destructoid. Like, GameSpot, I can agree with the Operation Raccoon City score, but the Resident Evil 6 score, I don't see this game being a 4 or a 5. I can mostly agree with the IGN score. I agree with the most for both, if you include both. But I can see this game being like an 8 to a 9, more in the range of an 8, 8.5, maybe 7.5 if you're playing solo. Because I'm playing solo, I would be having a much better time if I had a co-op partner. But unfortunately, a lot of the people that I would have chosen either weren't interested in the game or already had a partner, so I had to go solo. Fortunately for me, though, I have an idea for a series that I want to do later that would let me use a co-op partner, and more on that whenever. I don't know if it'll happen and whatnot. My lips are getting dry. I don't have any chapstick around here, but more on that whenever it would happen. So as you can see, the scores are a little bit different in what I would assume would be given. When I looked up Resident Evil 4 and 5 scores, those two games were getting like 8s through 9s across the board. There weren't too many low scores for that game. A lot of people are complaining that Resident Evil 6 has deviated away from the main franchise, which I would love as much as the next person for them to go back and make an old-style Resident Evil, but I don't need them to make an old-style Resident Evil. Like, I loved 4, I liked 5, I didn't like 5 as much as 4, but I still liked both games a lot. Both of them were very action-y. The story is kind of all over the place at this point for the series. Resident Evil 1 through 3 had pretty much a similar tight-knit story, and then once it got to 4 and 5 and 6, now it's just going all willy-nilly all over the place to wherever it wants to go. So I would basically like to say, think for yourself, sort of, but it's kind of hard because a lot of gamers are or people with lower income who are either still in high school, still in middle school, maybe in college or university. Their job may only pay the bills. They may not have a job. So it's hard to say, like, just go out and spend $60 or, whatever currency it is in your country, whatever money amount that is. Go spend that, whatever. Just go ahead, take a chance. Like, $60 is a lot of money for a lot of people who don't have disposable income. So unfortunately, that can't really be done all the time, but I played 4.5 hours of Resident Evil 6. I only got through the first 2 chapters of Leon. Probably would have been going a little bit faster if I had a co-op partner, sure. I feel like I'm doing a little bit worse at the game than I would like to be doing, either because I don't have a co-op partner to help me out, or that I'm just a little bit less than average at the game. I feel that I would be doing better with a co-op partner, but then again, that may be just trying to save face from sucking ass, but I don't know. It's a hard situation where people will look at the review score and go, that game got a 4. I'm not going to spend $60 on that when I can buy a perfectly good game that's, $60 and deal with that got a good review. Like Dishonored, I haven't looked at the Dishonored reviews, but I've heard that it's been getting good reviews. Maybe wrong on that. But someone might buy that game over Resident Evil 6 just because 6 got a crappy review. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes when things like that happen. So a lot of people that have been playing the game that I've seen have actually been liking it a lot more than the reviews have been saying. I know James said that he thought it was a lot better than what the reviews were giving it. I think it's a lot better than what the reviews were giving it. DSP thought so. I think Gold Glove did as well. Those are the people that I kind of follow on Twitter, the people that I talk to in the house, which would be James. Follow them on YouTube and stuff. So it's just kind of poopy that a lot of people will agree with that. Be like, well, we'll just see, it got a 4. Well, fuck that. I'll go to another game. The game isn't as bad as people have been saying it is. I would definitely, if you like Resident Evil or action games that have a third-person style, or, somewhat horror games, because the game really isn't survival horror too much anymore. It's kind of there, but it's not like the old games. I would definitely say go pick it up. The game, for me, it's like 2 hours a chapter at this point, like I've been saying. You're going to get your money out of this game. There are a couple other multiplayer modes, which I don't usually delve into that too much, but it gives some extra replayability. Mercenaries mode is there, which I actually kind of like Mercenaries mode. But I just wanted to talk about, how to not always go off of only review scores and whatnot, because they can be a little bit misleading. The game has had jumbled up scores, like IGN gave it an 8, Destructoid gave it like a 3, something like that. So there's a pretty good difference in scores. It's getting a lot of mixed reviews, but I'm just saying, if you like the game, you should go out and play it. I've heard reports of 15 to 20 hours of gameplay. I'm sure DLC will inevitably be released, if I could say that word correctly. It'll probably cost money, so it's going to be a little bit more of an investment, but rent the game at least. If you like what you played, then buy it. And I'm pretty sure I covered most of what I wanted to say. Just in consolidation, just look up other stuff. Like, if you see a review, give it a 3, then try and find some gameplay of it, see if you like it. Try and find someone on YouTube who's doing a Let's Play of it, see what they think of it. Do a little bit more research than just 1 or 2 websites, because I know a lot of people were saying or tweeting at me like, I'm not going to watch you play that game, I'm not going to buy the game and play it myself because Destructoid or GameSpot gave it a low review, and, blah, 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 blah. So, if you don't like the game, then cool, you don't like the game. Like, you're entitled to that opinion and whatnot. Not everyone's going to like every game. Like, I don't like Zelda. I'm not going to buy a Zelda game, but that's because I am shit at Zelda, and I am not going to try and struggle through a game that I know is good, but I'm just bad at it. Like, if you don't like Resident Evil 6 for a reason like that, then by all means, fine. I have no problem with that. Everyone has that opinion that they can take. Not everyone's going to like shooting games or third-person games. And the game is not without its faults. I know there are some bugs in the game. Obviously, pretty much every game has those. But the camera, my main complaint right now is that the camera is like way too close on the character, and it feels claustrophobic as fuck sometimes. It's really annoying to be that up close on someone's back. Like, Resident Evil 4 and 5 did a pretty good job of that, but it just seems like in 6, the camera is just kind of too close for its own good. And there are other problems in the game as well. But I'm not trying to talk the game up to this perfection, it's a 10 out of 10, everyone's going to love it, because it's not. I just felt that the review scores were a little bit too deviated from what I thought would be correct for the game, and I had seen a lot of people saying, oh, I don't want to play the game, I don't want to do anything with the game, and that's all I really wanted to do. And I think I've exhausted my time here, because I think I'm out of stuff to say. I keep looking over here, but that's because the stupid scores are over there. If I was smart, I'd make a bullet list of stuff to go over, but I usually try to let things just flow. So, in closing, please give the game a chance. That's about it. If you don't like the game, then you don't like the game. If you agree with the reviews, then you agree with the reviews, but I like to think that differing opinions are good, so long as that you don't go into a huge fight. I'm not trying to say, like, if you think this game sucks, then fuck you, you're an asshole. If you think the game sucks, then the game probably sucks for you. I mean, that's about it. So, with this video done, I don't know when I'll upload it, because I did another random special video. This might go up tomorrow. Today is Tuesday. Yes, today is Tuesday. Tomorrow would be Wednesday, so it might go up Wednesday. Or Thursday if you're in a different country, that's in a further time. It depends on what time I upload it. But thank you for listening to me ramble. Hope you learned something, or I'm sure a couple of you will go out and try the game now if you were kind of stubborn and not doing it. At least a rent, something like that. So that's about it. Thank you for watching and listening, and I will talk to you later.